Hey everyone, I love the sun glare. I love how the rainbows are there, the gold. Because sometimes in life, like things bring you down and bring you to such dark places. And sometimes, like, it's hard to own the accountability for giving yourself into the lower frequencies, but I had a huge epiphany. So I was watching my good friend Lo, and she's just such a strong, to go into the church lingo, she's such a strong child of God. And I don't mean it in like the gospel way. I mean it in the terms of, if there's anyone who has the innocence of a normal human, but has the remnants and essence of a potential apostle, I would say Loretta. She has it. So I put her video in the description box below. I know she's gonna love this. But I had an epiphany. I was watching her video, and I was also in my thought process today too about the body. And I'm gonna have a little bit of emotions. Usually I do. I had to say goodbye to a close friend of mine over the past 4 days. And it's like, because of my job of being a fitness instructor and a dance choreographer, sometimes I don't have time to grieve and mourn. I just have to keep going about people needing me, and what I do is a service, and there's no way I could complain about what I do. And there's no way that I can be drained from what I do, but I do get tired and exhausted. But every time I do that check of the sun glare and the rainbows and the pillars of light, it really just has me say, Aaron, you're still on the right track. Last week was very difficult because I had to cut off many people I thought were close to me, friends. Someone who's been in my life claiming to be my twin flame was just always an anchor to my, every time, just always an anchor to me. No matter when she would come around, it just anchored, boom. And so I just never feel too comfortable about the whole twin flame theory. I don't. And I think there was a decision that was made with the higher council. And I think I saw it on the Higher Self channel. If you guys can go on Higher Self channel, there was a decision that was made, and a lot of us are being used to see if it works. A lot of us, we are like a program. We are actually a project, and we are an experiment, because if the higher council hasn't really yet defined what type of reality they want to sustain themselves in, they want to project assimilation. So this isn't about the archons and the reptilians, and they're all trying to get here, because out there it's pretty much nothing. It's nothingness. So be in a field of nothing, a bunch of ships and smelling each other, or let's try to get into that simulation that those Palladians and Arcadians created, or the beings from the Cygnus system. It's the star system that has the swan. It looks like that. I just had an epiphany, and I was watching Lowe's video, and I'm like, Loretta, do you know what you just did? Like, you really helped me remember something that I didn't really, I don't know. So we are this body, right? and we are a carbon print of source. Source is whatever made us up, right? The physical body itself is the outer side in this simulation that was created to help engineer and upgrade. Like, oh, I can't explain it. Like, if you have an iPhone, no matter what level, number, grade it is, that's the physical body. But the software often needs an upgrade, right? And sometimes there's these detailed changes that happen on the apps and sometimes the hardware. So every program there's different 1,000 copies of the same phone with the same upgrade. But our awakening is each time we download the next, software update, if you may. Excuse me. That's the best metaphor I can actually have in terms of all of this. So how could we? The thing about it is, I was watching a video about pranayama breathing, which is from yoga, which is Eastern tradition, which I worry about, because if you're not certain about Eastern tradition and Eastern practices, you won't understand how to use the serpent's wisdom for good. That transcendental energy sometimes could manifest a fourth dimensional being that's not good, and then you just gave yourself a parasite and a hex or a curse, if you may. I always push record when I'm about to park. Jeez, Aaron, why? Thank goodness for backup cameras. They need better holders for cars. Anyway, before I lose my thought, there was this breathing practice that I saw, and thank you to Dr. Mandel who put this on his channel. So pranayama breathing, there's two versions of it. One is keeping breath through the nose, and this is also a method of how to tap into source, getting into the metaphysical transcendental form of your. It's going to source, which is what created us. And a lot of times I could do this just by sun gazing, but I know that, like, things like the Super Bowl and these mass shootings and things like that try to get your mind offset, they're intentional to stop yourself from automatically going into that meta transcendental paradigm, if you may. So the guru, who I should put that in the description box below, but I didn't push copy yet. It should be down there. Give me some time to put it in the description box or the comment box. I'll pin it. So there's this type of breath through your nose, which you go in and out your nose. You might want to have a tissue ready. And for 30 seconds, you do that, and it puts you into, it sort of activates this, if you know the sacred secretion, it gets the melatonin in your mind, the serotonin. It tries to wake up the dopamine. And this is why I am aware that drugs and alcohol, they taint the process of doing that. So if you have even marijuana, if you do, or if you have, dabbled or dwelled into substances, no judge here. I share my stories, but those really help the outer side of your metaphysical experiences, but the inner side of yourself stays more suppressed. So we have to do basically a flip, and the earth is actually flipping as well. So in order to help the earth get to the next stage, we have to start having the next stage with ourselves. It's a chain reaction, basically. um so to flip it, basically we do that breathing, or we do the inhale exhale through your mouth. So it's a quick short, and it's a long. And you can tell when you're about to go, when you are to bring that inner meta transcendental into the current paradigm, because your breath would get longer and longer. So each time you do it for 30 seconds, the exhale should be longer. And so this is how you're able to expand the mind, create more melatonin, dopamine, serotonin, because those are aspects in the mind that will activate the body, which it would enable you to connect to source much faster and more efficiently. This is why I've been having those dreams of the other reality that I was going to. But lately I've been distracted and I haven't been having those dreams. But every time when I'm on track, like I've been trying to do more melatonin, eating more cooked food at home, having a little more veggies and fruit, and then taking power naps during the day. So those things have been helping me tap to source. Our bodies are source, so everything's already there. I was thinking, oh, there's this, like, nucleus up in the cosmos and we're communicating with it. But we kind of are, because we are of the same element. We're just in a telepathic, conversation, basically. So I don't know if this is too much for you guys, if it's a lot to say, but I just had an epiphany. And thank you, I call her Lo, for the video. And I'm just tying everything in. And also, too, one thing I wanted to mention was the last couple of videos I talked about the helicopter and aerial activity. It's all just a distraction, because they want us to stop looking up at night and recording, and then being able to see the outer dimension. The veil is already kind of fallen. So we're able to see those ships. We can feel them when they pass by. And also those big, long, dark line marks, those are not contrail marks, because the chemtrailers, they fly right through, right? So you'll see one dark line and one white line follow behind. That means a ship passed. It means that a craft that came from the outer realm came through. So they're trying to cover that up too. The helicopter activity is just so that people can go, oh, it's just a helicopter, ignore it. And there's a lot of planes flying too. So I think that the predictive policing schmo heads, they're trying to do policing by disguise by having airplanes. Why and how do I know this? Because I've been followed a lot. I drive a lot at night. Sometimes, like, I am restless, because when you allow yourself to go into these higher realms, you basically absorb and you basically take on everybody's energy. Well, not take on, but you're battling everyone's energy. Like when I went to the memorial service yesterday, everyone was sad. But then, not everyone was sad, I'm sorry. There was 2 of us who were really grieving hard. Everyone else was just kind of, excuse my language, bullshitting. They brought finger foods and cake and wine and bourbon. And it's like, if you really were in tune with the person who passed away, who lost their life, you would know that she likes IPAs. You would have her favorite beer be the crevice of the event. And then 2 of us, we took her picture and we put it on a pot of flowers and put the candle in front of it. At least give her a good goodbye, So it was just sort of like taking on everyone's bullshit mentality. It just put me in a very angst place and a very hard disposition. So I went home and had an anxiety attack, basically. And of course, my neighbor upstairs, poor him, who probably feels these energies, he responds by slamming his feet on the floor. Probably doesn't know why. Or if I go, let's say if I'm cleaning something, he'll go to one of the rooms that's over my head and he'll just slam to shut me up, or to, I don't know. It's like I can tell when there's an enemy around, because enemies slam against a light bringer's energy. They slam and bang and drop stuff. So I'll be planning to move very soon because it is just intensifying, getting worse. But I want to give you guys a full retrospect of the body and why we're put in situations. And sometimes we're put into situations we can't understand why, but it's really because we're teaching Source what the experience was, whether we were jeopardized or not. But a lot of us, we worry, how come we weren't put in jail or arrested? Well, that's why, because Source is using you to understand the lower frequencies. And then you're given a hall pass because you're doing the work. But it doesn't mean intentionally do things behind closed doors. It just means that if so happens you've experienced something, you're reporting back to Source on what that was. And in return, understanding it, they release and let it go. So I felt a really good release. And also today is 1-1 bracket 1-1 bracket 1-1, because Roman numerals is 2 lines, right? 11 is 2 lines. 2019 is 11. That's 2 lines. So we're in another gateway. We're passing through another gateway, and more information should be coming through. So I love these 11-11-11s, and I hope they continue. Anyways, I have to go. I have to pay rent. If you guys like to donate, I have a PayPal account, and I would put that in the description box as well. I had a car accident a month ago, and so it really set me behind in terms of the work that I do. I actually have lost work in hours because the vehicle I had was a service vehicle of 4 doors. The new one I have is only 2. So I have to find more work in order to survive. But if you guys feel like, hey, I want to help Aaron out by 520, whatever you feel is on your heart's desire, because the words of wisdom still continue, I'll have that PayPal link in the description box below, and I really appreciate you guys. Alrighty, have a wonderful day. Love ya. See you later.